Let's go. Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
To the strains of the theme from Batman, we welcome to the program right now Yvonne Craig. Hello, Yvonne.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Well, you heard them giving all kinds of scores there. By any chance you happen to be a baseball fan?
No, not really. Whenever I hear scores, I'm always reminded of Tim Conway, who did a whole shtick on that, and he would say, and these scores are 4-12, 3-7.
You know, talking about old stick, there's a great Steve Allen routine with, Brown versus William and Mary. Here's the score. Brown 22, William 7, Mary 3, Or else, hey, here's a partial score, 6. Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, well, I'm glad to see you have a sense of humor. We need one for this program. How's everything going?
Everything is fine.
Listen, I'm doing all my research, looking up everything I can find on Yvonne Craig, right?
Do you know I have a website?
Do you
it
really?
It could help you.
Doggone it, everybody's got a website except me.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm ready.
It was unveiled in January, and it was interactive.
Ooh,
and so I had stuff that you could download. Let's see, there was the whole promo that was done for ABC for Batgirl.
Oh, the thing that never aired.
Yes, the thing that never aired, exactly.
Yeah.
That was on it, and then the dance, Marta's dance from Star Trek, just a little piece of that, and a piece from an Elvis Presley movie called Kissin' Cousin.
Kissin' Cousin, sure.
But unfortunately, I'm having it rebuilt because it's been up and running for almost a year now, and we've been adding to it and subtracting from it and doing all that kind of stuff. So I think that they've pulled those particular clips off, and we're putting new ones on and doing an online fan club and stuff like that.
Now, I would have to assume that much like, let's say, Terry Hatcher and some other people, there are probably a lot of red-blooded American males who have bringing down, a photo or two of Yvonne Craig in the leather outfit, right?
Well, in the outfit, it wasn't actually leather, although it may have looked that way. It was almost like girdle material and it was shot with silver threads.
Okay.
So it was purple with silver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that has me perplexed, I've got you born in 2 different places. So unless your mother experienced an unusual labor, I've got Taylorsville, Illinois, and I've got Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas?
How did they do that?
Well, who knows? I didn't even move to Dallas, Texas until I was in high school. So that's no. No.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I was born about 80 miles east of St. Louis.
So you're an Illinois girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I never lived there. I mean, my mother sort of just dropped me, and when she recovered, we went on to Ohio. So I lived in Ohio longer than anywhere, and then we moved to Texas, and from there I moved to New York and joined the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo.
Now, the ballet work lasted approximately how long?
About 3 years. Yeah, about 3 years, and then I didn't actually plan to give it up. I came out here because my teacher in New York was ill. He had TB, and so I came out here before joining the a ballet company in Monte Carlo, and inadvertently got into movies and just stayed.
Now,
that's all going to be in a book.
Yeah. And
writing a book.
I understand. We already have a publisher on this.
Yes, and it's going to be called from ballet to the Batcave and beyond.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, and I'm not finished with it. I have lots of chapters, but I haven't hung it all together, and there will be pictures and whatnot.
Now, will there be a special little story about Elvis?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it'll cover Elvis, it'll cover Howard Hughes, it'll cover Mort Saul, it'll cover Phil
Now
Bixby.
you just hit a good one there, because I just finished reading a book on Howard Hughes.
Did you?
And my goodness, I thought it named every woman in the Western Hemisphere, but your name was missing.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, it was. It's going to be out, and if they'll watch my website, anybody can buy it. I'll let them know where it is and when.
Would you promise that once it's out that we'll do another interview?
Oh, absolutely.
We'll
Absolutely.
talk it up real good.
Yeah, because it'll be some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I understand you have a personal appearance coming up right down the road here next weekend.
Yeah, this weekend.
Yeah.
Well, let's see, next weekend, actually. We're almost finished with this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get on my bat cycle and fly like the devil to get there.
Get that baby cranked up.
Yeah. It's the Hollywood Collectibles and Toy Show, and it's put on by Jack Mulqueen, and it's at the Clarion Hotel.
This is like right next door to the O'Hare Airport.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because, that's good to know, because he has me booked me out. He has the show lasting until like 4 o'clock, and then I leave at 4:30, and I thought, well, that will be interesting to see how we make that flight.
It's 5 minutes away.
Oh, good. All right.
So that's like 90 seconds on your bat cycle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Matter of fact, I've got all kinds of information here for people, because, here we are in St. Louis. There are people who will be going to this, so we'll run it down. First of all, the general admission, $6. Not bad. We're talking Saturday the 4th, Sunday the 5th. And it's going to run from like 10 in the morning until the late afternoon, and on Sunday it starts at 11. And again, the name of it is Mulqueen's Hollywood Collectibles and Toy Show, in addition to Yvonne Craig, Julie Newmar also.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's good. And we even have...
The good and the bad.
Whoa, yeah, you got it, Catwoman. And 630-837-0482. Again, the phone number, if you'd like to call them up, 630-837-0482. That's 1 week from yesterday and 1 week from today, the 4th and the 5th. So really good. Okay. Well, we have so much to talk about, and you have done so many interesting things in your career. We had a gentleman, first of all, we go on the air 1 hour ago. We had a gentleman late in the last hour. He says, now you be sure you ask her about Gidget, and make sure you ask her about Kissing Cousins, and does she remember this, and on and on. So we have to fulfill that caller, his wishes right there. So what do you remember about the movie Gidget?
That I had to wear a white bathing suit, and I was sure that my behind was going to fill the entire screen in white.
Oh, no. Come on.
Yeah, I do. I remember that distinctly, saying to them, could it be beige? And they said, no, it has to be white.
Yeah.
And Cliff Robertson was in it.
Yeah, he was Moondoggy, wasn't he?
He was indeed, and then later on he was, I worked with him in Batman in a thing called Shame.
Shame, yeah.
Yeah.
That was in the final season, yeah.
Exactly.
Now, was Dina Merrill in that, too?
Dina Merrill was in, yes, not in Gidget, but in Shame.
No, that's what I meant.
Yes, she was wonderful. They both were. They were really just really neat people.
And boy, is that a woman that came from money or what?
Yes, and she was just delightful.
Really?
And I
That's
said
neat.
to her, what's really nice about your husband? And she said, what? And I said, well, unlike most actors, he doesn't hang in front of the mirror all the time.
That's nice to know.
Yeah. He just got in there, put on the makeup, and then left and never looked back.
I was worried years ago when the David Beagleman affair broke. And I thought, wow, Cliff Robertson will never work again. But everything worked
for a long time.
Everything worked out fine in the long run, but it was tough there.
Yeah, and isn't that too bad that when somebody who is truly, just blowing the whistle on somebody who is wrong, and decidedly wrong, that you find that they, circle the wagons around the wrong guy and eliminate the good one.
Yeah. And not only that, but they forgave Beagleman real quick.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, he was one of the boys.
Yeah, and then you wonder, well, what are they into? That everybody knows where the bodies are buried, so they're all hanging out with one another. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I was really offended by what happened to him, because he was absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. Just sounds like some more fodder for the book to me, folks. Yeah.
Do you like that noise? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
We have a motorcycle crazy in our Gary Busey lives not far from me, and I've been blaming all this noise on him. And every time the motorcycle goes zooming up the hill, I say, "That rat Gary Busey."
Is he at least wearing a helmet?
Well, it isn't he.
Okay.
He was in the hospital for some reason, and I still heard this. So I said to somebody, well, I thought he was in the hospital, and they said,
Yeah.
well, who do you think that is? That's a whole other guy that's doing this.
That's probably one of his buddies.
Probably.
You know? That's okay. Well, listen, we got the birthplace locked up. We did that, okay, and you went to Ohio, and we did the Ballet Russe and everything. So you go out to Hollywood, and this is still the era when they're trying to do the 7-year contract routines and stuff
Yes.
like that. Now, did Yvonne Craig ever have to sign one of those
No.
long-term contracts?
No.
That's good.
No, I never did. I was approached by 20th Century Fox, or apparently my agent was approached by 20th Century Fox, and he passed it on to me. And I must have been in a very cavalier mood because I don't know what they were offering, but they were offering a lot of money, and I didn't want to tie up my life and I wasn't into any kind of commitments, and I really didn't want to make a commitment of any duration with a studio. And instead of saying to him, I don't want to make a commitment of any duration with a studio, I said to him instead, I'm not working for that kind of money. Are you kidding?
Mm-hmm.
And so he then he later told me this. He didn't speak to me for like 7 months, but I didn't notice. So that ought to tell you how in contact with my agent I might have been at the time. Anyway, finally he said, well, I wasn't speaking to you. And I said, really? And he said, yes. And I said, well, I didn't notice. And he said, well, I couldn't believe that you would say that you wouldn't work for that amount of money when I have a family that I support on less than that.
Oh,
I thought,
sure.
well, yeah. So it probably wasn't.
I got you.
Yeah. But anyway, I said it.
Now listen, one question, and I really debated whether or not I was going to ask this, and I thought, doggone. Well, first of all, you sound so perky and upbeat. I figure I'm probably okay here.
Okay.
But everybody for weeks we've been saying, like, yeah, wow, Yvonne Craig's going to be on the show, and every Sunday I sit here, Yvonne, and I go, my heart's going pitter patter. I'm majorly excited, But everybody for days now they've been saying, now wait a minute. She's doing Batman. It's like 1967, and she's looking real good in the outfit. We just assume Hugh Hefner had to come across with an offer. Was there an offer to pose in Playboy?
There was not from him in particular.
Yeah.
It only came to me via the grapevine that he was interested if I were interested, and I wasn't interested.
I got you.
I think when you look the way I did, they are waiting for you to tear off your clothes and not be a serious actress. And so I used to say, if I were Joanne Woodward, who is thought of as a serious actress, I would tear off my clothes and pose for Playboy. But because I look like I could be a bimbo, I don't want to ever appear as one.
I understand your justification for that.
Yeah. I did do a big layout in a magazine for him. It was called Show Business Illustrated. And the photographer in that was Larry Schiller, who who went on to win the Photographer of the Year award. Well, I mean, never mind that he wrote a book about O.J., but he went on to win the Photographer of the Year award because he took the picture of Pat Nixon with a tear rolling down her cheek. Yeah. So,
that's neat.
Anyway, it's a small world.
And also the craze with Batman and everything, it also kind of hit before America went poster crazy with like Farrah Fawcett and stuff like that.
Yes. I think Cheryl Teagues was probably even before Farrah Fawcett.
You're right. But I'll bet you an Yvonne Craig poster in the appropriate time frame, you'd be sitting on top of the money mountain chuckling like crazy.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably would have worked then. Yeah. Yeah, maybe even in the costume. Who knows? Rather than
au naturel.
Yeah. Never au naturel. That's the nice thing. I got an email because I see all of my email that comes, that comes on the website, and I got an email from somebody saying, have you ever done a nude layout? And if so, where can I find it? And I thought,
this wasn't from Marv Alpert, was it? I was just wondering.
He wanted to know if I'd ever done it with another girl, and where could he find it? No. So that's really cruel. I mean, he's had enough things happen for me to say this.
This has been a bad month for Marv.
Oh, God, yes. Anyway, the nice thing is that, no, I've never done a new layout anywhere. So if one ever showed up, you'd have to know that it has to be somebody else, or it has to be people, fooling around with different heads on different bodies.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
well,
happy.
we wouldn't have to put your head on somebody else's body. It would have to go the other way around.
Oh, aren't you
Yeah.
sweet?
See, here I am in St. Louis. It's not doing me any good, folks. That's for sure. Listen, even though the website is down, do you want to give out the address?
Oh,
for
yeah,
that?
and it isn't down.
Okay,
It
okay.
isn't completely down. It's
Okay.
just they're putting new pictures in, and they're putting an
Oh.
online fan club
Well,
onto it.
let's-
So we have to
let's go
log
ahead
in.
and do that then.
Yeah. Okay, it's www.yvonnecraig.com.
Well, that's so simple.
I know, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's going to be too easy.
yeah. Not
Yeah.
bad at all. www.yvonnecraig.com. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Even a computer illiterate like myself can do something with that. That's not
Listen,
bad.
I just gave up my quill pen about 3 weeks ago.
See, now wait a minute. When I'm not doing this, I'm a high school history teacher, and every once in a while I'll say stuff in class like, yeah, my old classmates Tommy Jefferson and Benny Franklin, and these kids sit there and lap it up, and yeah, I heard Mr. Strauss went to school with Benjamin Franklin. He's really old, Ah, well.
Well, before I started this book, I said to somebody, I don't have to write a book because I have no children, and so I don't have to explain to any child that, no, I didn't know Abraham Lincoln, but I did know Adam West.
Yeah, well.
And,
to some kids that means more.
yes, that's true.
Yeah. And Abe Lincoln wouldn't have looked good in a cowl.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Listen, we need to do some business right here, so let me take care of some business. Our guest is Yvonne Craig, and we're talking to her not just about Batgirl and websites and stuff like that. We're going to talk about all kinds of things before the evening is over here, but let me first talk about VIP Cellular. If you are in the market for a cellular phone...
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise.
Well, they were on a 5-year mission, and in year 3 of what was really a 3-year mission, Yvonne Craig had a memorable guest starring appearance, didn't you?
Yes. I was the green lady who tried to kill Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
And there's a small but vocal group who wonders why I didn't.
Well, that's true, but then we'd never have T.J. Hooker.
Well, will we miss it?
Well, no comment. I'll just let that go right there, because we're also approaching James Darren as a guest down the road. We don't want to offend too many people. So.
James Darren?
Yeah.
As what?
As one of our guests for down the road.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think he'd be a very interesting
I did a
guy.
movie called The Gene Krupa Story.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
That was with Sal Mineo.
Sal Mineo
Yeah.
played Gene Krupa. Right.
That was very early in your career.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Somebody called me the other day and said, I saw Sal Mineo upending you.
Oh,
Yes.
terrible.
Trying to shake a key out of me.
Well,
Hello.
yes. This wasn't like Ethel Merman in It's Mad World, was it? Where they had her upside down and...
I don't think so. I
No?
don't
Dropping
remember.
the car keys?
I don't remember. Yes, it was actually.
Yeah.
It was his car key.
You're conjuring up all kinds of visions for me here, Yvonne. I want you to know. And here, it's a Sunday night on top of it. Listen,
wow.
we had a caller who did not wish to go on the air, but he was wondering, since Burgess Meredith passed away and you worked with him, if you had any fond reminiscences of him.
Yes, indeed. The introduction of Batgirl was with the Penguin, and the episode was about the Penguin. It was my favorite, although not my favorite villain, certainly my favorite episode, because his idea was that, being the Penguin, if he were to kidnap and marry the commissioner's daughter, then he could do all his dastardly deeds, because he was part of the commissioner's family now, and they couldn't arrest him. And I
That's
just
right.
thought, what a wonderful idea.
Sure.
Yeah. But he was, that was an amazing career, wasn't it?
What a fantastic actor. And I always, and I express this on the air from time to time, I enjoy actors and actresses who can do both drama and comedy, and Burgess Meredith certainly fits that.
Oh, yes, and just jump back and forth for years and years and years. I mean, he was on Broadway. He was in Of Mice and Men. Then he did a wonderful, what was it? The Rod Serling Show.
Oh, yeah, the one with the librarian?
Yes. We were all talking about it at dinner the other night, because it was just really terrific. And then, you know, he did the Penguin, and then
Sure.
he did Rocky, and then he did Grumpy Old Men. I mean, he just never stopped.
And you know what? When they're doing those end credits and you're seeing him with the blown lines and everything, it's side-splitting.
A little scatological, I would say.
And you can't get angry at a little old man like that either. You know?
I know.
It's just so funny.
Yeah, I sort of saw it coming. He lives down the road from me, and I was at dinner about 2 months before he died, and he was out to dinner, and he was sitting in the booth next to me, and he just really was very, very frail. And I said, to my husband, boy, he doesn't look good. It doesn't look like he's going to be around long.
Yeah.
The one that was a real shocker was Cesar Romero. I mean, he was out partying every night. He was a party animal. He was out doing things. He looked in robust good health.
Always looked fit.
He was. Yeah. And then suddenly he caught pneumonia and just died in a nanosecond. Yeah.
And his nickname was Butch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Funny man.
Yeah.
I did a movie with him called 7 Women from Hell.
Really? Which number were you?
It was with John Kerr, and we shot it in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And it was about 1960, I think, somewhere around
for
there.
people who are wondering, John Kerr was the lieutenant in South Pacific.
Absolutely.
And then later went on to a law career.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah,
I wondered
became a
what
lawyer.
happened to him.
Yeah.
He was a dear, sweet fellow, but very, very, very shy.
Yeah, Lieutenant Cable.
Yeah, and he had been in Tea and Sympathy on Broadway.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you could host the trivia show some night.
I'd probably not, but I tell you what, when we went on a cruise one time up to on the inside passage to from Ketchikan to Juneau, Alaska, and they would play every night. We were in a schooner, an old Nordic schooner, and it was just wonderful. And there were 6 of us, and they would play Trivial Pursuit every night. And I said, I don't like to play that game, but I will be the ringer for both sides on entertainment.
Now tell me, you provided some key answers, didn't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear that. We mentioned ever so briefly a moment ago Ethel Merman, and you worked with her also.
Yes, she was in an episode that took place at the racetrack with Louis the Lilac, who was played by Milton Berle. I can't remember what her character's name was.
She was Lola Lasagna.
Oh, okay, Lola Lasagna. And she had just recently married and quickly divorced
Ernest Borgnine?
Ernest Borgnine, and we were dying to ask her what happened, because I mean... But nobody had guts enough to do it.
Yeah, well, you know, that's okay.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yes.
Now, did you also get a chance to work with Eartha Kitt?
Yes, you see, she was the Catwoman when I was on. The first year it was Julie Newmar. And then when they did the movie, it was
Lee
Merriweather. And then when we came back into production, they said that they were going to use Eartha Kitt, and I was thrilled to death because I'm bigger than Eartha Kitt. I could punch her out in a minute. And I thought, my God, Julie, I come up to Julie's belly button, and when we do these conventions together, she always says, well, let me sit, and Yvonne can stand, or we both sit on a desk or something, because, standing if she's standing in heels and I'm standing in heels, we still look like Mutt and Jeff. It's a silly picture. So, I thought Eartha Kitt was just wonderful. She looks like a cat.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Was there ever any talk of spinning off Batgirl and having a series just about that character?
Well, people keep asking me that and saying they heard that there was, but I think it was something that somebody made up and it got started because they never talked to me about it, and it was never in my contract.
Right.
So, to my knowledge, no.
Now, would you have been against that if it was proposed?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I love doing a series.
Yeah.
It gives you a place to go and time off, so you have X number of days off and you can travel.
Sure.
And it connects a name with a face. And I just can't see anything on the downside of that at all. I mean, it was all up.
Right. Let me ask you about a spoof film that you did, and I thought it was just a treat, and that was In Like Flint.
Yes.
What a neat movie. And James Coburn, what a character.
He was wonderful. And strangely enough, he did not, of course, do the ballet, but he was very graceful. because he was supposed to, with the whole ballet sequence was done by a real dancer, and then he had to like move into the scene so that we could pick up close-ups and do stuff like that. And he was incredibly graceful.
Well, he looks as if he should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he may have been into yoga or martial arts or something. I know in those days he played if you can play one, a gong.
I think he was a student of Bruce Lee.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so that might explain it right
there. Yeah, that might. Yeah. Yeah, he moved very well.
Now, another caller suggested that in the film Kissin' Cousins that there was a then very unknown Terry Garr dancing, and wondered if you remembered her from the picture.
No, but I have pictures of that dance sequence, so I'll scan the faces.
She apparently is in a blue dress.
Well, mine are black and white pictures, so that's going to be tough.
That will be tough.
But I'll look at the pictures because I have a lot of the dance sequence pictures. So I'll have to see. Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Now we've mentioned some big people that you work with, but another person we're talking about really the golden age of the movies, especially the MGM, almost the factory system. You were in By Love Possessed with Lana Turner.
Yes, and Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. and George Hamilton. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I'm wondering, did Lana Turner have a whole lot of, like, little people following her around, catering to her every whim, or did...
I didn't work with her, as I recall. I did my costume tests the same day and time that just right after she did hers. So I was there off camera while she would change, to do one costume after another, because in those days they used to put you in costumes and see how they photographed before. It's in the luxury days of motion pictures, where they could do hair tests and costume tests and makeup tests and all those things. Now they kind of say, well, wear whatever you have and just slam you in front of a camera.
Did you ever go in for a costume test and it was still warm from the previous person wearing it?
No.
I've heard those stories.
Really?
Yeah. Supposedly.
Really? No, the only costume test I ever did was, after I'd been hired and they wanted to see what the wardrobe was going to look like. But she was delightful, and she was there by herself. I don't know whether that was a normal thing for her or not, and I thought it was really dear because the opening day of my shoot, she sent me a gift.
Well, that's nice.
Yes, it was a little clown because she thought when I was 30.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Except it's good in one respect, but then you don't remember what it was like to be 16, and so I used to say to people, I always thought it was interesting because Burt Ward was not 14 or 15 when he was doing Batman, and it's through great cutting that you can tell or not tell whether people are over 21. Because when you're a kid, you don't really sit. They kind of light, but then you're getting ready to move on again.
Sure.
And in repose, people who are over 21 sort of are more settled in.
Yes.
And if it's cut right, you'll never know that isn't a teenager.
That's a good theory. I like that. Yeah. We're talking to Yvonne Craig. We'll give out the website again. It's www.yvonnecraig.com. And again, she's going to be appearing at a show upcoming in Chicago that is next weekend. We'll give you some more information about that. First, we have to do a little bit more business. It's 9:43. That's right. In addition to scores of appearances on other shows, Yvonne Craig did a number of guest shots on Dobie Gillis, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think I must have done 4 of them.
Yeah, that looked like a fun show.
It was, and I tell you, only Dwayne Hickman's wife and I understand this. He makes me laugh just to look at him. I think
I can accept
he's the funniest person around. Yeah. I said, whatever the synergy was between Jack Benny and
Like Don
George
Wilson
Burns.
and yeah, okay,
You know, that they
Burns, right?
They just smell about when they saw one another. Well, all Elaine has to do is say hello to me, and I'm rolling on the floor. And my husband said to me, "Why do you think he's so funny?" And I said,
"What magic power is this?"
Don't know, but I've always thought he was funny. When the first W we ever did, he looked like an onion. He was blonde, you know.
Yeah.
Remember, because they didn't want him to be recognized.
That's right.
From
Love That Bob.
Love That Bob, right. And so, anyway, I just thought he was hysterical then. I thought he was like an old Jack Benny. He was in his 20s.
That's not a bad compliment, though.
Yeah. I just think he's hysterically funny.
Okay.
I haven't seen him in a while. The last time I saw him, we were at a reunion for a book was coming out on AIP, American International, and Dwayne and I did a movie called Ski Party together.
Sure.
And it was with Frankie Avalon and Deborah Walling, and it was the snow version of the Beach Pictures, and so that we all showed up there, and it was funny. But that's when my husband met him, and he said, "Well, I think he's amusing, but I mean, I don't think you should be rolling on the floor with tears running down your cheeks."
Yeah, if you don't mind, Yvonne, we have a caller who'd like to ask a question.
Sure.
Okay. All right, let's bring in Jeff. Hi, Jeff. You're on with Yvonne Craig.
Well, David, I'm only embarrassed to admit that I just caught the last few minutes of this interview, and I'm sorry I did, because, Yvonne, I loved you on Batman, and, I was a kid back then, and obviously had a tremendous crush on you and Catwoman.
The good and the bad. You couldn't make up your mind which, right?
Well, yeah. I guess, when you're young and...
That's right. Listen, Howard Stern told me the same thing, except he told me graphically what a crush he had on me.
I'm sure.
That gets me to my favorite episode that you were in. And the greatest line that you guys did on the show was the one, and I can't remember, with Howard Duff and...
Ida Lupino.
There you go.
Right.
And they had the Alvino ray gun.
Yes.
Which was a riot in its own right. And then, it was supposed to make you guys two-dimensional, and you said something about getting flat, and Adam West goes, "Oh, what a pity." That was one of the greatest lines that I can remember. Right.
Well, the writer was Stanley Ralph Ross, and he wanted to say the Ronald Reagan, and they wouldn't let him say it.
Oh.
I can't remember whether Ronald Reagan was then...
he was governor.
Or whether he was just, president of the Screen Actors Guild at the time. But anyway, they said, no, you can't say the Ronald Reagan. Come up with something else. So they did the Alvino Ray gun, and most people didn't know who Alvino Ray was.
Oh, I remember him. He was a member of the King family.
Yeah,
there you go. Steel guitar.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. You might have touched on this earlier in the interview. How do you look upon the new treatment of Batman?
Boy, that's a toughie, because each one has been so decidedly different. I would not have taken a child to the first or second one because they were just too dark and scary for children.
Right, I agree.
The third one, I thought was lighter, and and was closer to funny. I have trouble with, and then the last one, the last one should not have been called Batman and Robin. I mean, they barely got to say anything.
That's right.
Mr. Freeze went on and on and on, and I went with an 8-year-old who was my date that night, and he turned to me and said,
"What a lucky 8-year-old, first of all.
Why did they blow up the telescope twice?"
Ooh.
And I said, "Through the miracle of bad continuity, sweetie."
Yeah, that's
There you go. I just saw that movie not too long ago, and I don't even remember it being blown up a second time.
Well, he seemed to think it was. I wasn't willing to sit through it a second time to figure out whether he was right or wrong. I just, I loved Uma Thurman. I keep telling everybody, okay, have some friend go and clock how long it takes for Uma Thurman to come on the screen, and then go in at that point and see it from then on, because she is worth seeing. I mean, she's dynamite looking. She has great legs and a terrific butt, and she's the only one who is clad in anything that looks like it isn't RoboCop.
I was just sitting here listening to you talk, and all of a sudden I remember you were you did a guest shot in one of my other all-time favorite TV shows, of course, Star Trek.
Right.
And that was probably, in the third season, that episode was probably one of the ones that was good, because some of those were getting kind of...
Yeah, they told me, we went to a Star Trek party at Paramount some years back, and I had forgotten even what the name of the character was or anything. She was Marta, and it was called Whom Gods Destroy, and I only know that because they gave me a badge that said so. But they said that it was second, that it's the second most watched, next to the first being The Trouble with Tribbles.
Wow.
So
That says a lot.
Yeah. So that's kind of nice to know. I sometimes go to Star Trek, they're sci-fi conventions, and so there are a lot of Star Trek advocates there, and they seem obsessed about my not knowing a lot about that show, but I only watched The Trouble with Tribbles, and then I watched the one that I did, but I wasn't a watcher of... I'm not much of a watcher of television to begin with, so I just never did watch that show when it was running.
Jeff, thanks a lot for the call.
Thanks, Dave. It's good talking to you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
And Yvonne, we have one more break to take here, and then we'll wrap it up, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi.
And yes, you do recognize the theme song from The Man from U.N.C.L.E, another guest shot from Yvonne Craig on that. I think, what was that, The Brain Killer Affair or something like that?
I did a couple of them, and then they smushed them together.
Oh, yeah, they made a feature film.
And made a feature film that was released in Europe. Yeah.
And you were like the secretary, and then you were also Mr. Waverly's niece or something, too.
I think so. Yeah, it was one of them had Elsa Lanchester in it.
Oh, neat.
Yeah,
I
I remember that, and I was tied to a chair, but I don't remember much more about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We want to, first of all, get in the date again for next week. The 4th and the 5th, that's going to be Saturday and Sunday, $6, which is a very reasonable admission fee. The phone number to call, this is for the Clarion Hotel in Chicago, right next to O'Hare Airport, 630-837-0482. Yvonne Craig and Julie Newmar drop by and tell them hi and get an autograph and take a photo and all those good things. And you've already heard what a nice lady she is, so I'm assuming that Julie Newmar is every bit as nice. So
absolutely, she is.
Ought to work out just fine. Okay. Well, what is Yvonne Craig doing these days in addition to personal appearances and things like that?
Writing that book.
Yeah. Now, do we have a target date for when this will be ready?
No.
Yeah,
no.
okay.
It's taking longer. I tell you what, I'm the kind of person that lives in the now and then plans for tomorrow. And I never look back. I've never collected stuff. I mean, I didn't have any memorabilia until fans started sending it to me and saying, do you need this picture or do you need that for your book? Because I just never saved anything. And there are days when it goes very well, and then there are days when I say to myself, why am I sitting here at this stupid machine when I could be out living my life? I mean...
or you could be over bad-mouthing Gary Busey.
Yes, sure. and with no good reason. I mean, the poor man was in the hospital when I accused him of racing his motorcycle in my neighborhood.
But he was guilty other times. It all evens out.
Oh, yes, maybe it all evens out.
Yeah. Listen, I wanted to ask you another question. I noticed that among the episodic work that you did, it would appear that you worked at least twice with the late Bill Bixby on Courtship of Eddie's Father and again on The Magician. And
the first time I worked with him was My Favorite Martian.
Oh, yeah.
I was this girl that had this horrible mole in the middle of her back.
Oh, really?
Yuck. Yes, and they had to put it, the makeup man made it. It was so ugly I didn't even want to see it. Fortunately, it was on my back, and
I'm not even going to ask why they were showing the middle of your back.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's okay. But I've always heard what a gifted man he was, and he, of course, also turned to directing and everything, and tragically we lost him too early.
Yeah, and I had lunch with his mother. Bill and I dated for a couple of years, and I had lunch with his mother about 6 months ago. And she's an amazing woman because not only did she outlived not only her husband, but her son and her grandson.
Oh, man.
He lost his son when Christopher was sick.
Right, his little boy,
Yeah. So, I mean, it was really tragic, and she seems to be handling it all very well, and she's a really strong lady.
That's good to hear.
And he was an only son.
Oh,
and it was
man.
the end of the Bixby line.
Oh.
Yeah, they're fifth generation San Franciscans.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, we want to make sure everybody knows about the upcoming show in Chicago. That's at the Clarion Hotel. And in addition to Yvonne Craig, Julie Newmar. And that is October 4th and the 5th. And we've given out the phone number a couple of times. By the way, again, the website for Yvonne Craig, www.yvonnecraig.com. And I want to thank you for appearing tonight. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
It's been a delight for me.
And you have to promise again now, when the book comes out, we're among the first for the interview, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm going to turn you over to my producer ever so quick because he wants to say thanks also.
All right.
And thanks again and continued success. And I hope when the book does come out that it really goes like crazy.
And I hope to meet you in person someday.
Ooh, that sounds real good.
Okay.
I want to be like your next 8-year-old date to go see a movie. I can't photograph 8, but I can, like maybe 38 on a good day. Okay?
Through gauze, right?
Yeah. Oh, shoot it through linoleum. Yeah. Okay.
I know that feeling.
All right. Stay on the hold just a bit here, Yvonne. Thank you again ever so much. And what a treasure to talk to, Yvonne Craig. And again, the upcoming show, October 4th and 5th, Saturday and Sunday. It starts on Saturday at 10, on Sunday at 11. Queens Hollywood Collectibles and Toy Show. They're just 5 minutes from Chicago O'Hare Airport at the Clarion Hotel. The show hotline, 630-837-0482, and the general admission, $6. Not a bad little deal, okay? Hey, don't go too far away. We have news upcoming